Hi, and welcome to Preview. My name is Guy Giampapa. Preview.
And I'm Donald Tulip.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cue guy.
Hello, and welcome to Preview. My name is Guy Giampapa, and our co-host today is Gary
Armstrong.
Right, Gary Armstrong. I wanted you
Were
to
you
say
testing me?
I was, yeah. It's been a long time since we've seen each other, Gary. Well, we've got a good show for you today. Our guest is Joyce Kulhawik, who's come back because she loves us and we love her. And we're going to talk about the Oscar nominations. She'll be with us in a few moments, but first, I want to talk about a couple of theater things that happened recently. The Walpole Footlighters Midwinter Show is a comedy by Paul Rudnick called I Hate Hamlet. It's about a young and successful television actor who relocates to Manhattan. While his television career is in limbo, he's offered the part in a stage production of Hamlet. But he has one problem. He hates Hamlet. His dilemma deepens with the entrance of John Barrymore's ghost, who arrives intoxicated and in full costume to the apartment that was once his. The contrast between the two men, the towering Barrymore, whose Hamlet was the greatest of his time, and the young TV star, leads to a wildly funny duel over women, art, success, duty, TV, and, yes, the apartment. Peter Bradley directs I Hate Hamlet, and it runs from February 3rd through the February 19th at the Walpole Footlighters. The Speakeasy Stage Company continues to present Tony Award-winning plays to Boston theatergoers. John Logan's drama called Red is the story of an abstract expressionist painter, Mark Rothko, as he is about to begin work on a new project. The year is 1958, and he hires a young assistant to work on a series of large panels to grace the walls of the Four Seasons restaurant in New York's famous Seagram building. Boston actor Thomas Darrow, winner of the 2011 Elliot Norton Award, is seen here as Rothko. His assistant is played by Carl Baker Olson, who trained at the Boston University School of Theatre and the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. He was last seen here in The History Boys and Reckless. The story of Red is a fictionalized account of Rothko's attempt to create these murals. His portrayal is mesmerizing, as Rothko Darrow gives us a riveting performance that is sustained throughout the play. He's an actor who holds his audience in the palm of his hand and never lets go. Red is a two-man play guaranteed to satisfy. Speakeasy Stage Company continues to inspire its audience with socially relevant theatrical premieres featuring the best talent Boston has to offer. Red continues that tradition. Well, Gary, are you ready for some fun?
I certainly am.
Okay.
I'm waiting to hear about all these movies, and I'm so embarrassed to say it, but I haven't seen any of them. But fortunately, our guest, who is Joyce Kulhawik, is here in Walpole. We're so grateful that she came. She's not really feeling too well. She's got a little bit of a cold, but she's a real pro, and she said, I will be there. Joyce, thank you so much for coming.
Hey, I'm here, and I've seen it all. So
Good girl.
I'm ready to talk, and I mean that off stage and on.
All right, good girl. Well, the nominations came out recently.
Yes.
And we have a list. Are you
I'm ready.
happy or disappointed, or what do you think?
I think the list is pretty much as I expected it to be, but
Most
there are
of
a
us.
few snubs, a few surprises.
Yeah.
So I was, if I were the Academy, I can tell you what I would have done a little differently. You want to hear?
Sure, yeah,
All right.
go girl.
In the Best Picture category, let's start with that, the Best Picture categories.
Yeah.
There are 9 nominations here, and last year and the year before there were 10.
Right.
There's a new voting formula, and previous to that there were always 5, just like there are in every other category. But I think, commercialism will out. They want to get more bang for the buck for more of these movies, so they thought, well, let's nominate 10 because, then we can really promote them as Oscar nominated. They backed off of that because I think they thought the field was too wide. So they gave a ballot out to everybody and said, name your 1 through 5. And the most ones ended up being the nominees, and this year it was 9. They thought the field would be narrower, but it's 9. And of that list, we've got The Artist, The Descendants, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, The Help, Hugo, Midnight in Paris, Moneyball, The Tree of Life, and War Horse. And Hugo and The Artist have the most nominations of
Hugo had one more than The Artist.
Exactly.
11,
Hugo had 11.
Yeah, and the other one
Artist
had 10, right?
I would have left off Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, which I called Extremely Tedious and Incredibly Morose.
It's very...
I hated that film.
No,
hate is too strong. It was a tough film to watch. It was annoying, the performances, a lot of loose ends at the end. I thought it was pretentious and arty and fake in some way. I didn't like that film. I would have put in there The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was an excellent film, not as good as the Swedish version of
which came out last year.
This novel by Stieg Larsson, which has become this gigantic international bestseller, but a very, very good film directed by David Fincher, who was also left off the Best Director list.
Right.
So, and I would have left off War Horse, I think, because
really?
It was sappy and sentimental at the end, and I was ready for all the corn. I mean, I love that like anybody, but it pushed too hard. I mean, I was embarrassed for the film, actually, at the end of that movie.
Well, you'll note that Spielberg did not get a director's nomination.
He was
for
also
that.
snubbed, but that was fine with me. I didn't, because I didn't like the film. I didn't care about that one. In the Best Actor category, interesting category here, because there were a couple that I wasn't that familiar with. Demian Bichir, A Better Life. I have not seen that film.
I haven't seen it either. I don't know anything about it.
It's about a father and a son who are trying to create a better life in the United States. They're immigrants. So that may be a wonderful performance. I don't know. George Clooney, however, was great in The Descendants. Right. Jean Dujardin from The Artist. Phenomenal performance.
That's one picture you must see, Gary.
That's the silent one.
The silent one, but the music score is so great.
Are you saying it's the silent one just because of my age?
No. I'm going to ask you to be silent now. No,
well,
really, it's a marvelous movie.
Just the score. I mean, it's the story and it's what they can communicate.
How they did
beyond words.
But you know what? The most fascinating thing in that movie, in my mind, was the dog.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned Uggy.
The little fox terrier.
Jack Russell Terrier, they are so smart, those dogs. And this dog is thematically so correct.
The dog should have been nominated.
Absolutely. One of my snubs. It's one of my snubs. Uggy gave a phenomenal, I mean, really and truly in pivotal moments.
Yes.
And really, that performance says a lot about what you don't need words for. I mean, the dog kind of sums it up, you know? Because there's an ironic line in the movie which says, if only he could talk, and I'm thinking, no, he doesn't need to. He does not need to.
Right.
And no one else in that film does either. They say an awful lot about, it's about the time in cinematic history when movies made that transition from the silence to the talkies, and not every big star made that transition.
Right.
You know, John Gilbert,
a lot of them died,
failed.
Or failed.
And Greta Garbo did. She made it across. But it was a very poignant time for a lot of people. And this movie deals with that. And it's really a Valentine to movies and what the new owes to the old. So,
you know, it's interesting. The Broadcast Film Critics Association, of which I am a member, voted. They have two categories in the Best Picture, the Best Drama and the Best Musical. So they voted The Help as the best dramatic picture and The Artist as the best musical. And for the past, I say maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years, the Academy has sort of followed suit what the BFCA did. They've gone along with their vote.
Right, and the Golden Globes do the same thing. They have more categories. So they've got comedy musical, and they've got drama. And again, The Artist won comedy musical, and The Descendants won drama, which I was very happy about. Those are my two favorite films of the year.
In the Best Actor category, now this has nothing to do with is it valid or not valid, but there's a sort of undercurrent talk that this may be Clooney's year.
I think so.
I think so, too.
I think it could be Clooney's year. As I'm looking at the rest of that category, we've got Gary Oldman, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, good performance. He's never been nominated before, but I don't see him winning this. Brad Pitt, Moneyball. He was terrific
in that.
He was even better in The Tree of Life. But the cool thing about Brad Pitt and George Clooney being nominated is, of course, that they're pals.
That's their friendship.
They're very funny together, and the byplay at the Oscars is going to be amusing.
I loved at the Globes, Clooney coming up on stage with the cane.
That's not funny.
Because I guess Brad Pitt had an injured ankle or something. So, but those two are,
But
just
the fact is,
hilarious
two attractive males.
Oh, my gosh.
And everybody loves them both.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
But here's the omission, I would say, in this category. That is Michael Fassbender, who was
Shame?
in a film called Shame. He was also in Jane Eyre. He
Yes.
was also
Something
in
else.
A Dangerous Method.
I haven't seen that yet.
He plays Jung. And it's about Jung and Freud and a patient of theirs. But it was a phenomenal year for him. But in Shame, he plays a sex addict.
Yes.
And believe me, there is nothing titillating about this performance. It really shows the sort of the corrosive world that this man lives in, and how, I mean, it is a one-of-a-kind, raw, very brave performance that was
daring,
overlooked by the Academy. It's extraordinary,
Yeah.
but it's not the kind of movie the Academy likes to associate itself with. So there you go. But this was almost criminal, the omission of him in this category.
You know who else I think was omitted? Ryan Gosling for Drive, but
Yeah.
also for The Ides of March.
I
And I thought
love
he did a great
that
job.
actor. I mean, he's one
I
of
do
my
too.
favorites.
Yeah.
And do you know Ryan Gosling at all?
Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor, I think. But I've seen him do better work.
Yeah.
He was great in what he was given, but I would say, you know, if I had to look at everything that I've seen him do, this wouldn't be his year. But I love Drive. I have to say I love that film.
That was
and
a
that
good
score
movie.
I really loved. I thought that was terrific.
What about the Best Actress? Who do you think?
Best Actress. This, to me, is the best category. I think the Academy really got this right. And in fact, the performances here are so strong, and it was such a strong year for women, that I wish there was room for one more. The actresses that we have in this category would be Glenn Close in Albert Nobbs, where she plays a woman who's cross-dresses as a man in the 19th century so that she can make a living, you know, because the options available to women were very narrow. So, this is a real vanity project for her. She appeared on stage in this role and took 20 years to get the movie made.
And she actually produced it.
Exactly. Gives a wonderful performance. So she's nominated. Viola Davis, who's a big favorite in The Help, she anchored that film. Rooney Mara, the girl with the dragon tattoo. Phenomenal performance, and I was very happy to see this young actress, come through here. We saw her in The Social Network last. She had that little. She had the girlfriend part. That phenomenal opening scene where they're at each other. And then Meryl Streep, of course, in The Iron Lady as Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. This was an incredible performance. I think it's going to be Meryl's year. She's been nominated 17 times, more than anybody else, and I think this performance is it for her this year. And then there's, of course, Michelle Williams in My Week with Marilyn, who was astounding. I mean, incandescent, luminous, captures that, very sensual, funny, innocent quality about Marilyn, even though she doesn't exactly look like her. I mean, I resisted that performance. And then within about 10 or 15 minutes, I was with her. I mean, she looked like Marilyn. Even from the back of her head, and the way she gestured and the tone of her voice, the cadence, she captured something about her soul that was extraordinary.
It's incredible how, I have seen some clips from the movie, and it's incredible how she transformed herself from who she is in real life. I mean, and I know this is an actress doing her job, but it really is marvelous.
But still, it's something almost eerie, isn't it? When it's not an impersonation.
No, it isn't. And you think about all the other actresses who played Marilyn, and she does.
Yeah, Marilyn is so easy to impersonate a certain way. You just pat on the hips and the chest and the blonde hair, and you figure you've got it. No, this is so beyond that. And when you see her, you'll be amazed. So, tough year. I would have added in Tilda Swinton, who did a film that not a lot of people
I can't think of the name of it. I saw it. It's very strange.
We must talk about Kevin.
Oh, yeah,
I've got the title a little wrong, but let's talk about
Kevin, I think. Yeah. That's a very strange movie.
She plays the mother of a teenage boy who's committed a crime like a Columbine murder and kills his classmates at his high school. And it's an incredibly distraught, desperate kind of performance from Tilda, who always does amazing work.
Yes.
So, and this was just a great year for women. I'm very curious about this category. I can't wait to see it.
You said you think Meryl Streep's going to win for The Iron Lady.
Yeah.
The thing, watching that movie, I kept looking for Meryl Streep in the makeup, but I couldn't find her.
I know.
I mean, she was in Julie,
Julia and Julia.
Thank you.
Julia.
Yeah.
Julia and
I mean, I
yeah.
saw her in it. I said, oh, yeah, she's doing a good job portraying her. But I just couldn't see it in this. I saw Margaret Thatcher, but I didn't see Meryl Streep at all. And maybe that's good. Maybe
I think that's good.
Yeah,
yes.
it probably is.
When the actress can disappear,
That's what she
someone
did. She
who
disappeared in
is
that.
as known and distinctive looking as Meryl Streep. I mean,
Yeah.
Meryl's got a face that that doesn't look like anybody else's
Right.
face. You know, she's
Yeah.
got a prominent nose and a very distinctive shape to her face, and she's got that